Hi, welcome back, everyone. Our second topic today is Beyond the Product. Please welcome our next speaker, Josie Tucci. Josie.
Thank you. Thank you. Right, we're kicking off with a video. So let's get started. I'm Josie. I work for Right Boat. We're an online boat sales marketplace. We actually have a connection with MMK. So if you hit the Sell My Boat button, your boats can come straight to our website and be shown to 500,000 people searching for boats online. So I'll do a presentation on that one tomorrow.
Good afternoon. Breaking news from the world of yachting. Josie Tucci is set to take the stage at the MMK Booking Manager Conference in Split. The Right Boat Chief Commercial Officer will deliver a keynote later today. Tucci's wide.
So I got a lot of questions that I heard yesterday about how do we create content when we're just a small agency or a small charter operator. That video I just put together this morning very quickly before I came downstairs, and it's using Sora. And you can create content in many different ways. So Sora is a great tool, and I'm going to finish with a little bit of conversation around AI and how it can help your business. So my presentation is about storytelling, it's about brand, it's about loyalty. So I think operational excellence isn't necessarily a title that explains well what I'm going to be talking about. Who was here last year when I spoke? Great, nice to see you again. And then for the others, it's new content, so that's good. I worked for the Moorings and for Sunsail for 20 years, so I spent a long time in the charter industry, working in the UK, in France, in the US, and I got a lot of experience about how the charter industry developed and really some great tools and examples of things that can help drive your business forward. The gentleman on the second on the left there, Charlie Carey, he's the founder of the Moorings. And when he started the business in 1969, there was really only one charter company in the British Virgin Islands. And in the Mediterranean, there was only a couple of people starting to dabble with charter. So it was easy to stand out from the crowd. You were the only provider. But as the industry expanded and the internet developed, and then tools like Booking Manager arrived, the industry exploded in the 80s, 90s, and in the 2000s. So the challenge now became, how do you stand out when everyone is offering the same thing? And this is kind of a theme that I heard Art talk about earlier, and I heard Yanis talk about yesterday. So these are some of the themes I'm going to be talking about. Loic from Dream Yacht Charters, I do think that he did a very nice quote, and this is a business that came out of nowhere. Loic worked for the Moorings at one point, and he decided to leave and start a charter business, and Dream became one of the largest companies in about 15 years. And his ethos was about making sure that people really feel something, and I think he really grew fast because of that. He said, there's nothing like inspiring people around the world to explore the ocean. Everyone should be able to experience the freedom of discovering remote bays and islands. So at this point, he's not talking about, I have 1,000 boats and I have 50 destinations and, facts, facts, facts. He's talking about inspiring people, making an emotional connection. And I do believe that is why Dream grew so fast, because of that ethos behind the company. The other thing that happened in the industry, of course, is online aggregators. I don't know if anybody is here from Click and Boat or any of those companies, but they compounded the problem of how do you differentiate, how do you make yourself different. Now it was becoming just a long list of boats with prices, and if you're not careful, basically the cheapest product wins, and then none of us wins. That is a race to the bottom. So brand is a really important thing, because if I said to you, think of a brand for sneakers, for shoes, for your vacuum cleaner, for your hairdryer, you already have in your mind, your car, you already have a brand. But you might think of one brand, you might think of two, but that space in your brain, we call that mental availability. It's instant recall that your brain does when thinking about brands. You want to be the first charter company or agency someone thinks about when they're thinking about taking a sailing holiday. Emotional anchoring, that's telling a story they want to join. That is kind of the quote that Loic gave us earlier on. It was telling a story of freedom of experience, of why a holiday on a sailboat or a power catamaran is going to be something really special compared to any other holiday you can do. Now, though, the difference is you have got to have social proof. So you can't just do marketing speak. Oh, I'm a corporation. I'm going to tell you this is great. You want to know that your friends, other people like you are also saying it's great. So you're going to go online. You're going to look for reviews. You're going to look for proof that what this company says is really the case. And every interaction that you are offering to your customers has to reinforce that. And if you don't, it can go drastically wrong quite quickly. So this is called the flywheel, and each stage of the flywheel will help the next stage go on. So at the beginning, you're trying to attract strangers. You're engaging them with your story. They're becoming a prospect. Now they're aware of your brand. Now they're visiting your website. Now they're looking at your tools, your photos, your channels. They become your customers, then you delight them. As you delight them, they start doing the marketing for you because now they are promoting for you online. And so it continues. If you get every stage of that right, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. When it comes to things like reviews, these days, the majority of your customers are looking for reviews before they make a business decision. So if you're not using your customer feedback, if you're not present on review sites, you're going to be missing that special moment where people are trying to make a decision between one provider or another. They need to see that you're there, that people talk about you. And reviews are really helpful because they can be used in 3 different ways. Firstly, you can take your reviews, you can use them for marketing. So you put them on your website, you put them on your social channels, repurpose them, use them for your marketing, use them as a basis for your messaging. The second one is product improvement. So this is the first thing, really, you should be using reviews for. Customers are going to tell you what they loved about your product, what they didn't love. So that is something that as a management team, you should be taking into your business every week and treating that as one of the most serious things that you need to be paying attention to. What is going wrong? What is going right? And then lastly, turning reviews into sales enablement. So when I say that, I mean your salespeople, there are barriers to entry. When they're on the phone trying to take a booking or trying to sell one of your trips, they should already know what it is that customers, what it is that's the hook, or what it is that might stop your customers from purchasing from you. And you'll know all this by looking at the feedback that you're getting online. And long form reviews. So it used to be, just a little, you would put like 3 words on a website and that would be enough. No, now it's long form versions. And AI loves a good, solid, authentic, long form review as well. So try to use all of the content that you've got. Another thing, actually, just a little tip. If you've got reviews and you are able to export them, drop them into your ChatGPT or another AI account that you manage, and it will summarize for you. Here's the 5 best things people love about your business, or the 5 top things people are having a problem with. It just makes things so much easier when you can have someone instantly summarize that data for you. So that is an easy way to, you don't need an analyst, you can use ChatGPT or another tool like that. I think Yannis was talking yesterday about the fact that 55% of new incoming customers into the yacht charter industry are now under the age of 40. Yeah, Gen Z. This is a big change because until now, most of our customers have been, my age or older. The traditional older 60-year-old white guy is changing. The diversity of the makeup of our customers is changing. And people want to see themselves, they want to identify with the community, they want to be part of something where they feel welcome. And Yannis as well, he talked about the intimidating language that we use, bareboat charters. People are like, what, I have no clothes on? What is that? So with or without a captain and chef, it's different. So they want brands that share values, not just inventory. So it's not just about features, it's about benefits. And we call that features and benefits. You should always be like, why is this feature something that is going to be of a benefit to me? And that's the storytelling part. So yeah, these younger people coming into the industry, they trust creators, they trust their peers, and they trust community more than they will your marketing speak. They want to know that it's really true. This is an example of a community that's been started by Sailing La Vagabonde. Sailing La Vagabonde has 2 million subscribers on their YouTube channel. They have like 8 million viewers of videos. It's a crazy amount of people. And in fact, I was speaking at a Sail America conference in the USA at the Annapolis Boat Show. And when we left that meeting, we all exited. I mean, we had a very big room. There was a couple of hundred people there. And we walked out the door, and there was a queue of people going all the way down the hallway, round, down the stairs, down into the lobby, out of the building, and around the building. We were like, wow, what is going on here? You know, there must be someone famous. It was Sailing La Vagabonde. This is like 4 or 5 years ago, before anybody knew who they were. And they had this massive following. No one in the sailing industry ever got that many people to show up to anything. You know, it was amazing. It was like, okay, this is a revolution. Now, of course, there's a lot of wannabe people. It's aspirational. They're never going to go sailing, right? But there are actually a lot of people who are like, yeah, I am going to go sailing. So now you get people who have no experience entering into the industry. And so now we've got a different set of challenges. This is just a little bit of explanation about how they're going about building this community.
Sea People has taken all of those old forms of communication and modernized it completely.
The foundation for like what this app would do, that was there.
It's no longer just this idea. Now we have to sit down and actually make this happen.
Nobody has a tech background.
You have two options. Go raise a couple $1 million, try to do it with some firm in the States, or go direct to India.
All right, let's go.
We have just taken the biggest gamble of our lives.
We're going to potentially bring more people together than anything's ever brought together in the boating industry.
When we got version 1 of the app back, it was a really bad day. Even the basic functions were not functioning. We were ready to pull the plug.
At some point during this really difficult phase,
The CTO of Shopify,
this guy is
the real deal.
Michael George.
I pinged Riley and I said, "Where are you? We should meet." After receiving the app, I come in and I said, "Throw it out, start from scratch. I got it."
Sea People app is free. You can find the link in the description box below.
Yeah, so I mean, these guys are building their own communities, and this is an opportunity for you to get involved with that community as well. So I would take a look at what communities are out there and get your voice heard on it. So you become a reference as well, and people start getting used to hearing your voice speaking on these. And you can find a lot of prospects as well. People are looking for advice on yacht charters, on destinations, on different boat types. And it's a great way to interrupt that journey and to answer people's questions. This is a company I worked for 3 years, MarineMax. It's the world's largest powerboat retailer. Last year, they did $2.4 billion in revenue selling boats, and everybody is saying it's a soft market. You know, these guys, they know what they're doing. But Bill McGill, he has one message that he always sends, and it's, we're selling a lifestyle, not boats. And he's built his whole company around that. So, yeah, they sell a shit ton of boats, for sure, but they also do training. Everybody that buys a boat, they do a training for them. They have service centers, they have marinas, they do rendezvous. They build a whole community that people feel part of. Even in the winter when no one is boating, they still have community events at their stores. They're still getting people together. And, you know, those kinds of numbers you can only do when you really, you know, get your customers coming back. A lot of repeat business from these guys. So as new customers are entering the market, how are we going to deal with these guys? Well, obviously, we've talked about you have to digitize the experience. So, you know, I know the guy in the front row here, you have an app that you're developing. I mean, everybody is trying to figure out how do we make it a seamless, frictionless experience that is online check-in. Floatist at the that's outside there, that's the kind of product that is going to make it a lot easier and a lot faster. You know, paperwork, it's, you know, no one wants to do paperwork when they arrive. The last thing you want to do is spend 2 hours at the base filling in all your paperwork. The more you can do ahead before you arrive, the more you can do digitally, the better. Make sure that, you know, using influencers. So people are like, yeah, but influencers have become really expensive. They have, it's crazy. You know, I've like asked for several quotes recently and they're like $3,600 a month. Instead of that, if you're on a budget, you can go to your Instagram account and have a look at some of your followers. Some of your followers already have thousands of followers themselves. And you know what? Maybe they want to go on a trip. Maybe you can barter an experience. Maybe you can share some news about them to your email list. And in return, they'll do some promotional activity for you. You can do these things without having to spend a ton of money. But really, if you can think about how can you build a community, maybe it's local around your marina, maybe it's working with a sailing school in the area. How do you come together to build a community to get people involved with your business? Differentiating is the key, and you're going to make your life easier if you really understand what your purpose is. So you have to define your offer, what you are, but also what you're not. And we've heard this several times, I think, at the conference, that, if you try to be all things to all people, you'll be nothing to nobody. So once you've defined your offer, you'll know what you're trying to communicate. It simplifies your messages. Sometimes I get up here and I have ping pong balls, and I say, right, catch my marketing message. You're never going to catch 5 messages at once, right? You need a singular message that sticks and resonates with your clientele. When you know what you're trying to communicate, you can align all of your assets, your photography, your copywriting, your team, your sales team messaging. It's all going to be focused around that positioning that you have. And if you do that, you'll be able to get qualified, relevant customers because you'll be targeting the right audience for the products that you're selling. It'll separate you from your competition. It'll be consistent. And that's how you'll avoid being a commodity where it's just about the price, because people will really identify something special about you. At Sunsail, we developed a product called Food and Wine Flotilla. It's so easy. It's just a normal flotilla, and you do all the things you normally do, but we called it a Food and Wine Flotilla, and we highlighted a few wine tours along the way. That sold out every single time because it was something unique that people could hang their hat on. But it didn't cost us any more to deliver than our normal product. And that was because we knew people wanted on Flotilla to be part of a community, to enjoy those experiences together. Easy things to achieve without spending a lot of money. This is a brand clarity framework. And if we have a lot of time, what I like to do is, talk to your neighbor and discuss, who are we? What is our business? If you're here with a colleague, have a think about this. What do we stand for? At the moorings, it was, we're the best-selling vacations in the world. It was always the same tagline, always the same message, and we all believed it. The staff believed it, and customers believed it, and the reviews, underscored that. Who do we serve? We knew we were more expensive. We knew we were targeting a higher end clientele. And sometimes that's going to determine which markets you operate in. The US is going to drive higher revenues. If you can attract a US clientele, they love coming to Europe. They love coming to Croatia and the Med. If you can attract that clientele, you can charge a higher price. Why we exist? What do you specialize in? At the moorings, it was service. That was the big thing. And that defined the product ranges that we did. So we didn't just do bareboat, we also did power catamarans. We did fully cruise yacht fleets because we knew that we had an American clientele. We knew that they would pay more. We knew that service was more important. So we were always looking for ways to go up with our price, up with our product, not down. And that unique thing that no one else can claim, I guess, in our world, it was, since 1969, we were the founders of the business. It means we know what we're doing. We've done it a lot. We have a lot of experience from our owners, from our charter guests, from our base teams around the world. And we use that experience to always improve our product. And so that, was very consistent with our brand positioning. Lex Russ, who used to be the president of the moorings and is now with the Keeler Catamarans, he always says, when he does presentations, he always says the same thing. No stool stands on one leg. To have a successful business model in the boating industry, you need 3 legs: innovation, distribution, and operations. And that's every stage. So yeah, you've got to be moving forward. You've got to come up with new products. Keep your customers coming back with something fresh. You've got to have people that can sell. You've got to be able to market those products. And then operationally, you have to deliver. And that's, again, you've got to get it right at the touch points, but you've got to be listening to your customers to know when you're getting it wrong as well. I talked about this last year, and I was going to say if anybody had done this presentation last year and had come back, this moments of maximum impact, it's a customer journey map. It's really easy to do, but it is key to focus in the business, because one of the challenges we always had as a large worldwide business is there are a million things to take care of, okay? But you are never going to get a million things done. So what are the key things you're going to have to do? These are things that your customers are going to be telling you what is important to them. So you try to identify that moment of maximum impact. And we tried to do that at each stage of the journey. So from awareness, what is the most important thing people are trying to how are you going to impact someone the most at the beginning stage, awareness, then when they're considering you, through the purchase, through the consideration, through loyalty. So, and then from this mapping that we got, we actually, took all of our reviews. We invited all of our teams to come together to talk about these things. But really, it was the customer that was telling us that. So, what moments build loyalty? What kills loyalty? And so we came up with one singular one, and it was really simple. And it sounds stupid, but it was to get the boat off the dock on time. Ready, obviously. And if we didn't get that one moment right, everything else was just going to be a problem from the start. They were waiting around or, not happy when they're on the water. Now they feel like they're in this, you're in constant recovery after that moment. That might not be the same moment for your business. What is it? Is it when you pick up the phone? Is it when you send them their booking confirmation? What other things they want to know? Okay, I'm set, I'm organized, I'm ready to go, I'm having fun, it's seamless. So I did think that was an amazing experience, and to go through that process, that would be like the one thing I would recommend everybody do with their business, so that each stage, customer actions, the touch points, the experience, what is going wrong and what are we going to do to make it right? If you have that and align all of your business around it, then you should have a good roadmap for progress. And even one thing we did is we actually tied everybody's compensation into improving these moments on the roadmap. So it didn't matter if you worked in operations at a base, or you were in marketing, or you were in finance. We all had to try to work together to make that moment of maximum impact happen. And that's where you get alignment in the business too. So thinking about the future customer and how are they choosing a brand, right? So always on connectivity. I mean, Wi-Fi, you remember when we used to go to hotels and you had to pay for Wi-Fi? Yeah. Well, we're still trying to charge for Wi-Fi a lot of the time on boats, but that's a big turn-off now. No one wants to pay for Wi-Fi at a hotel, right? It's the same on boats now. So constant connectivity, and actually it's a benefit anyway, because you want your customers to be able to post and say, hey, I'm on this trip with, such and such a charter company. You want to facilitate that. So connectivity is key. The frictionless experience that we talked about through Floatist or SalesSense or other businesses like that are accommodating seamlessness like that. Safety and education built into the product. We are getting a lot of newer customers that don't really know a lot about boating. They don't have a ton of experience. So if you can make it an educational flotilla, and flotilla is an amazing product for people who are a bit newer. You can either put a captain on or not, but they love the safety of having a lead boat with a captain chef that is there. If something breaks down, you've got professionals that can help you right there. They help you with the weather. They help you with itinerary choices, where to go, book things for you. So flotilla is an amazing product for newer customers coming into the market. And then purpose-driven and sustainability. I mean, Tesla is one of the original electric car manufacturers. Sustainability is becoming part of everyone's life. We're seeing a lot more hybrid electric boats coming out onto the market. Pretty much every manufacturer is now developing that. 5 years ago, it was really experimental. Now it's becoming part of even a normal charter fleet. So those are kinds of things you've got to build into your product, and that's what people care about. Another way to get involved in conversation and to put your brand out there as well is to find, like I say, communities. But Reddit is an awesome one. I mean, this guy right here, this was 12 hours ago when I took the photo, which was a couple of days back. He's like saying, I'm on a 130-foot sailboat. I don't know if this is a cruise ship or they've got the whole boat, but they're asking, hey, I have questions. What is sailing there like? I'm worried about my wife getting seasick, right? I mean, really, the company that this guy booked for should be answering those questions. But no, he's going out to a community to ask the answers. So you could go on that conversation and you could answer that conversation for him. And now your brand is getting out there because other people are going to see that conversation too. So it's another cost-effective way to do it. But don't put, buy your next charter with, rightboat.com because you're going to get deleted off the conversation. So it has to be authentic, it has to be real advice. But a lot of people on the sailing community, 101,000 people weekly visit the sailing community on Reddit, for example. And there's probably a Croatia sailing one, and there's probably, localized communities as well, where, you've got the target audience you're looking for is right there. Influencers as a strategy, I did talk about it a little bit earlier. They are getting expensive. They're business people now. Basically, they're marketing people like everyone else. But it's non-negotiable to have some influencer, some content creator aspect to what you do. And like I said, you can take a look at your own Facebook or Instagram accounts and have a look at the people who are following you. You will find customers that have maybe even a bigger following than you do. So take advantage of that, reach out to them and ask them if they would like to work with you to promote your product. But that's where the trust is. I mean, like I say several times, the clients are going to go and they're looking for other people's endorsement of your business. So you can leverage that. We did quite a few different influencers a couple of years back. We got tons of good traffic from that. We got lots of bookings as well. So it wasn't just for fun. It was a good business generator as well. But these guys, we took a long time to pick them based on the kinds of followers they had, the subjects they talk about. It was super targeted, and that is key too. And if you can make friends with a good influencer, you'll get a good benefit from that. So I think the last thing I really wanted to talk about on this deck as well is AI, because a lot of challenges are happening. Is people are getting an AI summary now when they're looking on Google or even using ChatGPT as their browser, and they're not going to get to your website because they're getting all the information they need in the summary. And so there is quite a big trend across the industry of seeing less people, less sessions coming to your website. So you have to figure out, how am I going to show up in AI summaries? A lot of, I was saying earlier, like the long form reviews are really helpful. AI will pick up on trust signals like that and use that as part of what it returns. So it's looking for easily digestible chunks of information. So something that you can do, for example, is you can, take a blog page, and instead of just a whole page of text and photos, now you should start thinking about creating tables, like maybe, steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or, lists of things you should prepare for, or compare this destination to that destination. AI loves those digestible chunks of content. So with your marketing team or web people, you should be starting to think about, how do I build in the trust factors? How do I make it easily digestible? I mean, at the end of the day, AI is really just regurgitating what it's finding online. And you do have to be careful, though, too, because we had a great example of a Reddit conversation where someone had asked about trying to improve the consistency of a recipe. It was nothing to do with boating. It was about, cake. So my cake batter is too wet. How do I make it stick better? And someone had answered, oh, I would recommend using glue. It'll make everything stick together much better. I mean, he was only joking, obviously. But AI picks that answer up and can actually include it in an answer, right? Because it's just picking up content it finds. And if a lot of people thought that was funny and they upvoted it, it's going to think it's a credible piece of content. So you do have to be a little bit careful when you're using AI to generate content. So how can you make AI work for your brand? So yeah, turn reviews into revenue. So like I said before, take reviews that you're generating, put them into ChatGPT and ask it for the core themes that your customers are talking about. And you can do that for competitors, you can do it for yourself, and just pull out what is really important. You can personalize at scale as well. So you can create itineraries. You could drop in your own website itineraries and say, create me a new itinerary that features food and wine, or create me a new itinerary that's ideal for families. So the creative efficiency you get from using AI to help you, it's incredible versus, having a big marketing team if you don't have that. Upgrading your brand voice. So I was going to say, you should definitely consider getting a business or a team ChatGPT account if that's the AI account you want to try and use, because that's how you keep your own business information confidential. So you have to be really careful. Do not upload identifiable customer information that could get repurposed. Try to set up a business account. It keeps everything that you put in there confidential. You can hook it up to your Google Workspace if that's something that you use for your business. And then ChatGPT will have access to your files, and you can say, hey, have a look at last year's revenue numbers. Tell me where my peaks and lows are. Could I have, filled more inventory at a different time? It's amazing how much analysis you can get, but you just have to be careful not to use a free version of any of the engines because your content could get reshared. You can also use it to generate content that's your brand voice. So you can put your brand guidelines in there, you can put your own web content in there, you could put interviews with your CEO in there, and everything that it generates after that, you can say, use our brand guidelines to generate this content. So it sounds like your business, it sounds like you. Spotting weak moments of truth. Yeah, so finding patterns in guest feedback. So again, where things are going wrong, let's identify those problems quickly. Let's see how we can focus on those, make suggestions to improve it. And amplifying your lifestyle story. So yeah, scaling content creation, keeping it consistent across platforms. This is for, companies that have very small teams. There's really a lot you can do now with AI. And that, I think, is the end of my presentation for today. So if there's any questions, thank you. Any questions? Yes, Art. Yeah.
That video you did at the beginning with the Sora interview.
Yeah.
How did you do that? Is it like a text prompt that you can just kind of tell her? Do you give it a picture? Is it both? How did that?
Yeah, good. So it's a text prompt. So Sora, and I've got the free version of Sora, so I don't even pay for that either, right? And in there you can say, right, have 2 news presenters announcing Josie Tucci speaking at the MMK conference. But what I've also done is I've uploaded myself, a photo of myself, and I can say, use my likeness so I walk on stage, not a random person, right? So you can even have yourself in videos. I mean, it's crazy good. Now, one of the things, and it was funny, is, sometimes the prompt doesn't work. You're floating off somewhere, something strange is going on. What you can do is you can take your prompt, you can put it into your ChatGPT account and say, improve my prompt so that, it lasts longer or they're speaking about a different topic. And ChatGPT will rewrite your prompt, and then you can drop that in. That's a big time saver, for example. But yeah, it's all text prompt. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. Any other questions? All right, cool. Thank you. All right, guys. See you later.